If you were following this channel 5 months ago, then you'll probably recognize this picture. In this sea of black diesels, there are several worthy of honorable mention. In the first row is a former Reading Railroad SW1001 in-cab switcher, one of only 5 on the Norfolk Southern roster and unfortunately, now on the endangered list. Number 100 is number 1 of only 2 RP20 BD gensets that are both assigned to the Enola Yard. The RP stands for rail power, and unfortunately, both are also on the endangered list. The SD70M-2 is not on the endangered list yet, but it has been taken out of service and placed in storage, and I think it will end up being converted to AC traction. If it turns out that I'm right about this, it's on the endangered list in its original form. And the ex-Conrail SD60i is by now, yeah. In the back you can see the nose and the golden wings of the Erie Railroad Heritage Unit. Something else you can also see, but barely, and probably didn't notice, is the Training First Responders Safety Train. It's way back there. Of course, I respect you too much to give you just a teaser, so here's a better picture of it when it came out of hiding. What you can't see in this picture is what I went there to get in the first place, the NS number 1111 barcode unit. I heard it was an Enola, so I decided to try my luck, and as luck would have it, I couldn't find it. And although I didn't know it at that time, it was coupled to the Erie unit. I found out 3 days later in York, Pennsylvania on empty coal train 511. It's shown here at the Flour Mill Road grade crossing waiting for a high railer to clear the line. Once the go-ahead has been gotten, the crew will highball northbound to Enola and west to the coal fields of Shire Oaks, Pennsylvania. I caught the barcode again in November of that same year, and this time it was completely by surprise. It was the second of 3 northbound blacks on NS Train 37T. The barcode even worked in Taylor local service a few months back. I missed it, but my railfan friend Mike G caught it working Buttonwood and the L&S service track. Back to the future, Columbus Day was special for more reasons than one. Leading today's Train 14R was once again the quadruple ones with a special, what I assume to be, experimental train. 44 cars back is the Norfolk Southern ES44 DC number 7705, a mid-train DPU that's working its heart out. At roughly 60 cars, today's train is hardly worthy of DPUs. In fact, I'm sure that the trailing Dash 9 was offline, but seeing NS finally getting with the program is something we've all been waiting for a long time. Like I said, I think this is a test train. Over in Steamtown, the train DL3 was bringing in a whopping 78 loaded cars up from Taylor. Providing the muscle was 3 of 5 big 6s on the line plus 2 4-axles. I got there with enough time to whip out the camera, but not enough to set up the tripod, so what you see is what you get. As the cars rolled by, a celebrity caught my eye, another BNSF Heritage car. In an earlier volume of this very summer special, we caught our first Heritage car in the form of the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. I'll leave a link to that video in the description in case you missed it. For now, here's a rehash of what we talked about. It seems that even BNSF has dipped its finger into the Heritage game, even if it did it half-heartedly, with a fleet of Trinity-covered hoppers bearing the logos of 9 of its predecessor railroads. And as the Heritage locomotive fleets keep getting bigger and bigger, BNSF sorta got with the program and produced, shall we say, a half-hearted Heritage hopper harem? Granted, it's not locomotives, but it's still pretty cool and a good possible start for something bigger. As the story goes, in late October of 2012, BNSF unveiled the first in a line of Heritage painted rolling stock. There were 3 covered hoppers in 9 road names for a total of 27 cars that received the historical logos. The Santa Fe, the Frisco, the Burlington Northern, the Great Northern, the Northern Pacific, the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle, the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy, the Fort Worth and Denver, and the Colorado and Southern. Each of the 9 cars was painted in a basic light gray at the Havilah Car Shops in Lincoln, Nebraska. The rumor was that Union Pacific was also supposed to have a similar program, but I've not seen any cars to date. The story is that railroads have to have a few freight cars running around with old heralds in order to demonstrate that those heralds are still in active use so they can retain their trademark registration. I don't know if this is true, but some trademarks do expire if they're not maintained. And in the spirit of the Heritage cars, here's some concept art by Trains Magazine art director Tom Danneman and graphic designer Drew Halverson, who came up with several schemes that would look awesome on new BNSF locomotives. The DL3 continued to sort out its train, but I didn't stick around to see the end. We have one more episode to go before we close out our summer special for 2019, and as you can imagine, I naturally saved the best for last. If curiosity is getting the best of you, it's that carnival train that you've been seeing at the end of the last few videos. In the meanwhile, here's another perspective of today's 14R to tide you over until the finale drops. For Trains 21, call me AC.